Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Deadfire with me, Bring It On. Let's continue our journey.
The creases of the dwarf's face tighten into a smile as he gives you a courteous nod.
Time is not on your side, Watcher. I suggest you get on with the task at hand.
You sense the steward's spirit in the bust, but she is unaware of you. Goosebumps rise on Adair's arms as you approach, but he seems unaware of your presence.
The return to your body feels like waking after a fitful drunken sleep. The rocking of the ship sends pain jolting through your limbs. Crashing waves hammer inside your skull. Adair watches over your body with a glazed look, taking long, even tokes from his pipe. At the first movement of your chest, he starts. His gasp, mid-puff, sends him coughing and straining for breath.
No, there's no way. You're awake. What are you doing awake? How are you feeling?
Alive.
Alive's a big improvement.
I hate to cast a pall over your recovery, but I'm afraid I have some bad news for you.
The voice echoes from inside the bust. The remains of the steward of Cad Nua.
Cad Nua has been destroyed. Aethus possessed the statue of Maros Nua and rose from the ground, consuming the souls of all nearby. It is only by the exceptional strength of your soul that you survived. And even then, just barely. The further Aethus withdrew, the weaker you became. We chartered this ship and followed him to the Deadfire archipelago. I know not how, but it seems he has retained a piece of your soul. And proximity to it has brought you back.
I know.
How could you know all that? You've been faking on us.
He pokes at your shoulder with one finger.
Misfortunes brewing topside, Magrans fires the captain stirs.
An older man with ale-sour breath rubs his bloodshot eyes and stares at you.
I recognize Engrim. Wasn't that the name of somebody in the first game?
Engrim, the smell of drink on your breath could wake the very dead. Now what's this about?
Pirates. They're demanding parley with you, Captain.
I know this is asking a lot, but you better arm yourself and get on deck. Should be some gear in there.
He indicates a nearby wardrobe.
The word Okaizo is scribbled and crossed out on many points of this globe.
There are weapons in the armoire here.
There's gear in that wardrobe. Take what you need.
So this is a different name. Pretty sure it's the same effect. Use your Watcher powers to gaze through your target's eyes deep into their soul, temporarily frightening them. Once per rest.
All right, now make some use of it.
Oh, you don't drag it directly on top. You have to use the arrow. Okay.
The pirates of Deadfire are notorious. I suggest you deal with them quickly.
Well, what have we here? A little sloop? Lost and alone in the storm?
A surly, brutish-looking captain stands stiff back before his crew. He scowls as he assesses you, his hair whipping about his ears in the wind.
I'll be taking your ship now, if you don't mind. And especially if you do.
Well, at least he asked.
I am a gentleman of fortune.
The captain shrugs in the sheeting rain before pinning you with a slow, murderous grin.
Give her up easy, and I'll see you get a swift death. It'll be bloody and agonizing, sure. But at least it'll be quick.
Must be nice to get paid to talk so much.
And you're the one who'll be paying me. Ain't that just lovely? Listen up, mates.
He cracks his neck as he addresses his crew.
I'm off to spear me a bigger fish. One with sharper teeth like. I'm trusting you lot not to cock this up. Don't damage the sloop when you take it. Play with the crew if you'd like, but don't bring me any prisoners. None that are alive.
You heard, Bandwidth! Off!
Defend the ship!
Okay, that was really easy.
Storm's picking up! Take cover!
Glad to see that my crew was carrying the weight there. You defeated the pirates, but you're not out of trouble yet. The storm picks up, lashing your ship and driving you dangerously close to a rocky shore. The Defiant's crew hurries to reduce sail and batten down the hatches. They work quickly, but the ship is still listing heavily. Just then, a loose crate tumbles toward you, gathering speed on the rain-slicked deck. It misses you but knocks Chipwrecked, one of your deckhands, off his feet. The Defiant heaves. Chipwrecked pitches over the side. He grabs into the rail, but his fingers are slipping. He cries out for help. Meanwhile, the runaway crate totters on the edge of the deck, ready to plunge overboard. You recognize the symbol in the front and realize it likely contains the salvage from Cadnua, your keep. This is the first choice in the game? Well, I guess besides deciding whether or not to work with Barrett. So if I don't rescue him, the rest of the crew will see that I don't care about them. But I mean, I hate to say it, but he is replaceable. I can hire a new crew. The crate, what's inside of it may be irreplaceable. Man. If I was in this situation, I would rescue the crewmate. So rescue Shipwreck. Plus whatever's in here, I'm sure we'll find replacements for, you know, at some point in the game. You grab Shipwreck's arm just as his grip fails. For a tense moment, he hangs suspended over the roiling sea. Then, with a mighty tug, you pull him back onto the deck. You hear a heavy splash. The crate from Cadnua is gone. Shipwreck, meanwhile, nods in gratitude and hurries to his station. Meanwhile, the storm has nearly driven you ashore. A flash of lightning reveals a treacherous coastline, and Eothas striding into the distance. The lookout barely has time to shout a warning, before the Defiant runs aground. The impact hurls you from the deck and into a froth of waves, bodies, and splintering debris. You struggle toward the beach just ahead, even as the surf tugs you toward the open sea. You kick and paddle with all your might, until at last you feel sand between your fingers. Pulling yourself ashore, you collapse.
You've been getting a lot of sleep so far on this trip. I'd have woke you, but you look so peaceful with your face in the sand.
Adair runs his fingers through his hair and removes a strand of seaweed he finds lodged there. He examines it closely and then tosses it onto the sand.
If you're worried about the ship, you can stop worrying. It's wrecked right over there.
He points out the Defiant, despite it being difficult to miss from your vantage point. What do you mean, it's behind me?
So far, it's just you and me and the chair lady over there.
Adair nods towards something further up the beach.
It's a relief to see you awake, my lord. I worried you were in for another long sleep.
Your steward appears to be lodged between some rocks. Despite this, her tone is warmly cheerful. Where are we?
Don't know, but it's real pretty.
Difficult to say for certain. The Deadfire is spotted with islands, some quite small. The good news is that if the storm hasn't spun us round entirely, I'd say we're in charted waters. I believe the Valian Trading Company operates in the region. Hence that little visit from that wretched pirate captain.
Can we patch up the ship?
I'm afraid I won't be much assistance in that regard. And not to doubt Master Adair's capacity, but even he would need supplies.
That's true. Steak, especially.
Patching the hull is only the start. You're going to need help getting the Defiant out to sea again. And a crew, for that matter.
Let's see about the other survivors. And somehow we gotta get the ship repaired. I don't want to be paddling out of here on a salvage raft.
For now, I'd say your best bet is to find some sign of civilization. If nothing else, we may be able to hire on a shipwright. My lord, if it is not too taxing, could you explain how it came to pass that you were returned to us?
Option 3. I've always been a little bit rebellious towards the gods in these games, or at least in the first game. Turns out the gods are too dumb to figure out what Eothas is doing, so they sent me back to figure it out.
Could be they're just not dumb enough to get in Eothas' way up here.
A perilous endeavor indeed. Castle or no castle, you are still my lord, and I will aid you to the best of my ability.
Well, I suppose we better get a move on.
Let's go. Okay, we'll go ahead and multi-class him as well as a swashbuckler. Let's see what he has. Let's see. Alright, he's from the Deerwood. He gets +1 resolve. A former colony of Adir, the Deerwood won its independence in the War of Defiance over a century ago. Known for the stubborn, bellicose character of its people, the Deerwood fought against Riad Sirius in the Saints' War, and is responsible for the destruction of St. Widewin. Only a few years ago, the Deerwood suffered from the Hollowborn Crisis, a phenomenon of children born without souls. The crisis was ended through the intervention of the Watcher of Cadnua. He's also a farmer. It's +2 survival. Farmers can be found across the Old Empires, Eastern Reach, and even in the Deadfire archipelago. They're responsible for the bulk of food their societies rely on for day-to-day sustenance. When he has Saints War's armor, gives him second chance. Revive with 35.4 health. He has sneak attack, plus 30% damage with weapons against targets affected by flanked, body affliction, mind affliction effects. And strong souled, plus 5 max health. He has medium shield and saber proficiency. Oh, and unarmed. Does everybody have that? Yep. So he gets block with medium shield. Use your shield to attempt to block incoming weapon attacks, completely resisting the attack if successful, at the cost of recovery time. He gets Windmill Slash. By swinging the saber with great arcing strikes, gain penetration at the cost of recovery time. And Haymaker. Strike with heavy exhausting attacks that gain additional penetration at the cost of recovery time, of course. So he gets constant recovery as a fighter. It is a passive, plus 5.9 health restored per 3 seconds for 45 seconds. Charged by the rush of battle, the fighter will continually regenerate health at a modest rate. First level he gets knocked down. Also 1 discipline. Shoves an enemy with enormous force, knocking them prone and causing damage. He has sneak attack because he's a rogue. Or sorry, a multi-class, a swashbuckler. It uses the rogue's ability to approach unseen, adding additional bonus damage to their weapons attacks when the target is flanked or affected by any affliction. And he has crippling strike. Will hobble an enemy. The rogue attacks their enemy's ability to move around effectively, hobbling any enemy successfully hit.
Cool. What do you need? Well, don't see why not.
Help! Somebody! Per complan!
So many souls lost. Surely someone else survived.
Hey, sure.
That's right, I get some stuff because I have some DLC. Let's see. So only the main character gets a pet slot. We have a Beakhead. While Beakhead is following you, you gain a bonus to intellect, and your party gains a bonus to the sleight of hand skill. And Cosmo gets +1 Constitution. And while Cosmo is following you around, you gain a bonus to Constitution, and your party is more effective with healing spells and potions. That's probably more valuable here in the beginning. We have Saint Draga's Skull. The saber, one-handed. Plus 20% damage is burn. It's +5 accuracy and undying flame. a 20% chance to deal additional burn damage on hit. Before being canonized, Saint Draga the Martyr, the Templar Draga served the priesthood of Mogren in Defiance Bay. When the temple chose to send a small group of Mogrenites to spread the word of the faith to the people of the Deadfire, encouraged by the city's duke in an effort to curb growing Valiant influence in the archipelago, Draga eagerly volunteered to accompany the missionaries. The mission served in the eastern islands for years, before being slain to the last. Duke Durinson Hadrit hired a group of mercenaries to bring Deerwooden justice to the raiders, responsible and secure any remains. While the group successfully avenged the missionaries, this grim trophy was all they recovered of the fated group. When the priests at the shrine of Mogren saw that the paladin's flame persisted even in death, they proclaimed her a martyr. The shrine of Mogren granted this relic to the chapel at Cadnua in recognition for your many services to the Deerwood, and has somehow survived Eothas' rise from below that very structure. Returning again to the Deadfire, Saint Draga continues to cast light into the darkest shadows. So it's a paladin's weapon, but it's not restricted to a paladin. Oh, is it? Oh, it doesn't count as a... It is a saber. Whatever. Because there's already a weapon there? Why can it only be put in offhand? I don't see anything saying that it's limited only to offhand. I want to put it right there. Huh. Yeah, I'm missing something probably obvious, but I won't worry about it right now. Alright, define apparel. So it grants Captain's Eye. While not flanked, the wearer has resistance to perception afflictions. Hand-stitched by one of the finest hatters of Salona, the sharp lines of this hat suggest defiance against an uncaring sea. The Earl of Norwijk gifted you the hat in recognition of the foresight, both natural and supernatural, for which you have gained a reputation in the Deerwood. You're not sure where the eye patch came from, but it reeks of rum. Take that. And Gon's Pledge. Grants Gon's Pledge, plus 30 health restored. Shares a generous portion of the caster's divine strength, restoring a significant amount of health to all allies in the area of effect. This item grants the ability to shield the wearer from the myriad perils that plague the world of Eora. An aspect of the god Eothas, Gon represents the harvest of old age, symbolized here by the many interlocking sickles that form the ring. As Gon helps protect the dignity of old age, so too do his followers pledge to prevent young lives from being harvested before their time.
That's something. I've got it.
Well, don't see why not. Don't think I... pull that off.
Yeah, I know how to equip items, but I don't know why I can't equip the saber in his main hand. It even compares to the large shield. That's so weird. Yeah, like I said, I'm probably missing something obvious.
Will do.
Can I speak to her again? Guess not. The Defiant is looking far worse for wear after its unexpected landfall. The hull has splintered in several places along the keel, while the tattered sails stand as evidence of your battle with the pirates. The deck of the Defiant is well out of reach from here. The ship groans like a beached whale each time the waves roll in, but it doesn't seem to be listing further. You may be able to climb up. And scale the hull by hand. You climb nimbly up the side of the ship, and reach the top without so much as breaking a sweat. Adair is not far behind, pulling himself up and over the railing beside you.
Keep it down.
You're looking better, Casita. That, or I'm worse off than I thought.
The sheen of sweat on her brow, and the wan cast to her features belies Irena's casual greeting.
It's my leg, Matico. It hurts even worse than it looks.
Irena's leg bears a bloody gouge along the length of her shin, and the swelling around her knee suggests a nasty break. What happened?
I was a stubborn Postanaga. I was trying to fasten this mess down when we struck shore. Barrel rolled right over my leg. Everything we've been through, and I'm nearly done in by a cask of rum.
Have you seen anyone else?
Funny thing, it's hard to see much from the underside of a barrel.
Craft a splint from some debris. I'll patch you up best I can, but you want to stay off the leg as much as possible.
I wasn't planning on going for a run, Casita.
Irena watches you work with obvious relief. Once you're through, she gives the leg a tentative stretch.
It still hurts, but I can manage from here. Agrasima. Have you found any of the others yet?
Not yet.
I'll start a fire. If any of the others are out there, hopefully they'll see it and turn up.
Oh cool, he's lighting his pipe as an idle animation. Even has sound. It's a really nice detail. From the prow, the sandbar below seems deceptively close. Climb down.
On it.
There must be other survivors out there.
Hope the rest of those sodden bastards made it.
Okay. I guess we'll hang this way.
Hey, fancy seeing you here.
The spirit's voice warps and shifts, muted as if by a great distance. Even so, he grins brightly at you.
I can't see much of anything, really, apart from you. Just endless gray. What happened?
The ship ran aground in the storm. You died.
Storm? That's strange. You'd think a man would recall a storm. It's like someone cut away a part of my memory. There's just this big black hole. It's weird. I thought death would be different. Big light and so on. But I don't see anything at all. Just you.
Bareth charged me with guiding souls to the afterlife. I suppose you're my responsibility now.
Oh. Suppose that sounds nice enough. I'll follow you then, shall I?
Come along then. The spirit falls in a step behind you, radiating cheer.
Still seeing ghosts, huh? I suppose you're stuck with that.
Hey, watch out.
Suey! Suey!
Let's go. Damn. Huh? Sure.
Slow motion after combat ends is a little weird. Wasn't sure what was going on. Okay, I'm going to call it here. In the next episode, we'll continue exploring Valario's Rest. See if we can't find more of the crew, and find some stuff to repair the ship with. Honestly, it looks in pretty good shape. Except for, I guess there might be a hole right here. And of course, we can't see the far side, but... Either way, for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.